Hey there, Rich Florence, and welcome to today's episode of the Underdog Coach. I am very excited about today's show, and I'll tell you who today's show is for specifically. It is for you if you are in the process or you are considering transitioning from a job or guaranteed income to the unknown world of a commission-only type of income, whether it's your own business or commission-only sales job, whatever it might be. If you're in the process of making a transition like that, or you're thinking about it, or if you know someone that's in a situation like that, be sure to share today's show with them, because I believe it can be absolutely beneficial. And I'm going to do my best to be absolutely as candid with you to help you understand some of the advantages, disadvantages, and what you're going to experience in that process, and most importantly, how to help you successfully navigate that process. So for starters, I just want to talk about sort of the two different worlds, the guaranteed income, the commission-only or non-guaranteed income, and there's certainly advantages to both. When you look at the typical job or guaranteed income world, certainly there's some advantages, and there's probably more than this, but just to name some of the most or the biggest advantages would certainly be, benefits. A lot of people love the idea if you have a job that offers benefits, health insurance, dental, 401k, retirement plan, all those kind of things. And not all jobs, of course, even offer that, but if that's certainly one benefit in a lot of cases. Or benefits, security. A lot of people, the idea of just getting a paycheck every single week or every other week, or in some cases once a month, but knowing it's guaranteed, for a lot of people, that sense of security is very important to them. And then, of course, there's just structure. Although sometimes people complain about it, a lot of times people just love the idea of having some guaranteed structure, knowing when they're going to wake up and when they're going to go to lunch and when they're going to take their vacations. And certainly that's appealing to a lot of people. So those are some advantages to your typical job. But then if you go over here onto this other world, this commission-only sales, or getting paid for what you generate, but really it's the unknown. But certainly there are some major benefits. One would be no ceiling, or certainly a much higher ceiling on your earning potential, depending on what you do. Because over here, you usually get some type of floor. So over here, you're going to remove that floor, but you're really going to raise the ceiling on what you're able to earn. So higher income is certainly typically available to you over here. Another would just be lifestyle, being able to being able to control your lifestyle, earn more money, maybe work less hours in a lot of cases once you're successful over here in this world, and freedom, just the freedom to be able to not have to clock in to a boss, to really be able to control your own schedule, take off when you need to, vacation when you want to. So there's a lot of aspects to this that are very, very appealing. But a lot of times, it just depends on what's most important to you. And certainly what I learned is that, benefits can be purchased. If you're making enough money, you can purchase benefits. And really the sense of security, once you understand and navigate your way through, as I'm going to talk about, you can build your own sense of security. In a lot of cases, feel more secure than over here, because at the end of the day, anytime you have a job, you can lose it like that. Right? And so there's not as much security in the job as they used to. People aren't staying at the same job for 40 years like they used to. And certainly structure, I actually like some structure, but I learned that I could start to create and build my own structure, but on my terms, and ultimately have more freedom and structure at the same time. So again, why is it, if this is so great over here, if there's so many great things, and I'm not trying to hype up and sell this over here, but I think everybody knows, hey, there can be a lot of benefits to successfully navigating your way over here. But if that's the case, why do so few people make it? And why are so many people negative to the idea of sales or straight commission only? And so I want to try to help you with that, be again as frank and candid as I can, but also give you a plan to help you if you're desiring to get over into this world of commission only. So here's the thing. If you're trying to make it over here in this world, what I like to say is that really what you're doing is you are leaving this guaranteed paycheck over here and you are entering the desert. And you need to understand that you are entering the desert, meaning that there's a big lack of income. There's this unknown desert out there that you have got to cross in order to successfully make it on this end, to start achieving your goals and dreams, and ultimately, hopefully, achieving a lot more income and more things that you desire than you're able to get over here. But to get there, you've got to cross the desert. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't really understand that they're going into a desert, or they don't know what it looks like, and they don't know what to expect. They have false expectations about this desert and how to survive in the desert. And therefore, I can tell you, having been through that desert and having walked with a lot of people, I've seen the dead bodies and the people that didn't make it through the desert, who then run back over here and say, hey, commission only. Oh man, you can't do that. I tried that once. But there's some things you need to understand to successfully get through the desert. And that's what I want to talk about. So, really what you need to understand is that if you're over here and you're getting your needs met, you have your basic needs getting met in your job or close to it anyway, and you're leaving that up and you're going into the desert, you need to know that there is one thing that you've got to be focused on, and that is survival. You are in a survival mode. And I don't encourage people, if you're desperate is not the time to go into the desert, okay? If you're going to successfully navigate through the desert, it needs to be because you've got something over here that you want to achieve, that you got a bigger dream and a goal and something that you want to achieve for your family, not because you're desperate. Because entering a desert when you're already desperate is really not a good idea, in my opinion. So to successfully navigate through the desert, really there's a few things. We could talk about other things, but there's three primary things I believe that you're going to need that's going to really help you in surviving the desert. The first is, if I'm going to enter a desert, I would like to have a guide. Someone that has successfully been through the desert, that's navigated through the desert, because they can successfully help me to know where to go, when to rest, and all these different things, and help me navigate that desert. And if you talk to most people that are really successful over here in this world, whether it's a real estate agent, insurance, financial services, any type of business owner in a certain business, typically they have had people that have invested in them, that have helped them, that have guided them through the way, or maybe multiple people, multiple guides that have helped them to be successful. And I encourage you, depending on what you're getting involved with, that you have somebody, a guide or somebody that can help you cross the desert. The other thing, if you're going to go in the desert, if I'm going in the desert, I know this, I don't want to go into the desert hungry or thirsty, and I want to have lots of reserves because I know there's not a lot of food and water in the desert. So the ideal situation, if you're going to cross the desert, is to have some cash, because there may not be a lot of cash in the desert. When you're just starting out, when you're building your pipeline, you're going to find that there's a lack of income. That's why people are scared to make the journey. So ideally, if you have some cash, 6 months cash reserves to help you have some extra food and water where that food and water is kind of sparse and not available to you, that would be ideal. Now hang with me. If you're watching this, you're like, well, I don't have that. Because a lot of people, they just don't. But you still really have a desire to go. Hang with me because I want to talk to you specifically. But the ideal situation would be to have some reserves to help you during the ups and downs, the shortfall as you're going through the desert. The third thing, and this is crucial, is if you're going to cross the desert, you have got to be willing to hustle. You've got to have determination, tenacity. You've got to know that your number one purpose in life is survival, right? Here's what I mean by that. If you're over here in a job, and I'm not saying, hey, listen, a lot of people work super hard in jobs. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're in a job and you're kind of in your routine, you can watch TV at night for a couple hours, right? You can have all the balanced family time, go to all the sporting events, do all the things that you need to do, which are all great things. I'm not saying not to do them. But if I'm in a desert, and I'm crossing a desert, there's no TV in the desert. Right? I'm not probably, I got to get my 8 hours of sleep. Well, I don't know if I'm sleeping 8 hours in the desert. I am in the desert. My whole goal is to survive. And so you've got to take that mindset temporarily. I've seen people that just kind of casually are just going to walk through the desert, but they don't have that tenacity. Like, oh my gosh, listen, I've got to survive. in this desert. You've got to be willing to go in with that attitude. If you don't, right, even if you have the 6 months cash reserves, if you don't have that hustle and realize that you need to be surviving, that you need to be all in with the whole mindset of crossing that desert, even if you've got 6 months cash reserves, you can go through it like that, and all of a sudden, you're not surviving in the desert, you're running right back over here. So you've got to be willing to hustle. It doesn't mean, listen, I'm all about family and all those different things, but there is a time that you need to know that my family's on the other end of this desert. If I don't survive, if I don't get through this desert, then I'm going to be having problems with my family. So know the season that you're in. Again, I'm not saying you never see your family. I'm not saying you never sleep, but you just got to have that intensity that just to know you're crossing the desert. And the more intense you are, the faster you can cross that desert. Don't drag it out. You want to get through that as fast as you can. So listen, you want to have a guide. You want to ideally have some cash and some reserves to help you through that desert. And then you got to be willing to hustle and go all in. Like cut off the TV. Say, look, I may miss some sporting events. I may be a little out of balance for a season while I'm crossing this desert. But hey, once we get on here on the other side, then we can pick up all these things and then some, but I got to get through the desert. So those are three very, very important things that you need to understand. Now, if you are in a situation that you don't have a lot of cash reserves, but you still are like, hey, I've got some goals, some dreams, I want to venture out into this world. Hey, listen, that's okay. There's a plan A and there's a plan B specifically for you based on your specific situation. So first would be kind of plan A. This is if you are, you have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe your spouse, your husband or your wife doesn't work. They're staying at home, so you don't have their income. So really every bit of your income you need, it's necessary to meet your needs. And you don't have a lot of cash reserves, then it's probably not ideal that you walk away from that guaranteed income, because it's going to be difficult, especially without the cash reserves. Even if you got all the hustle in the world, it's going to be hard to get through that desert. So for you, I tell you, plan A is I'm going to go learn how to sell part-time. What I mean by sell, whatever it is that you're looking to do, I'm going to sell, start that side business. I'm going to go hustle part-time 20, 30 hours a week while I'm still working my full-time job that's providing all my needs 40 hours a week. So what that means, you get up early, you go to work, you come home at 5 or 6 o'clock, and whatever it is that you're going to do, you're going up and you're working on your business, you're working on your sales, whatever it might be, you're going to start the process of working on this over here part-time. And listen, I know that's difficult, but what that allows you to do is allows you to continue to pay your needs and provide for your family. But as long as you're willing to go hustle, you work part-time on your fortune while you're working full-time at your job. That's a great way. And listen, I know a lot of people that currently, right now, that I work with that are doing amazing this way, that are able, and listen, you can make as much money going out eventually working part-time as you're making over here, and then you can drop this, or at least you start to build up some cash. So here's what I'll tell you. If you're doing this, save that cash that you start making so that you can build up some reserves, so then you can just jump in and go all into the desert because you know you're willing to hustle and you got some cash. So if you got a lot of responsibilities, again, maybe your spouse doesn't work, whatever, then maybe plan A is a great option for you. Now, I also have seen a lot of people that are very successful plan B. Plan B is exactly the opposite. What that is you say, you know what? I'm walking away from this guaranteed job over here that provides for my needs, and I'm going all in over here, commission only, straight commission, whatever you want to call it. I'm going all into my business, all into selling. But here's what I recommend that you do, that you at the same time, because there may be some time filling up your pipeline, getting good, learning how to sell, learning how to get your income where it needs to be, that at the same time you work part-time on some different jobs that don't have any long-term benefits to them, but they allow you to keep some easy cash flow coming in to pay your bills so you don't get desperate. Again, ideally you're going in with 6 months reserves. If you don't have 6 months reserves, it's either plan A or plan B, because you got to survive, you got to live. And so this is what I recommend to people, and I've seen some people do absolutely amazing in plan B option, where what that means is, hey, they walk away from that guaranteed job. So they're walking away. They're taking a step of faith. They're going into the desert. They're coachable. They're hustling. But while they're learning, getting this going, they're Ubering, they're delivering pizzas, they're cutting grass, they're doing a lot of whatever it takes to keep some cash flow coming in while they're getting great at their craft, while they're learning how to sell to be successful over here. And that's a great option. And listen, this can be hard for people. If you're over here and you're making $100,000 a year and you're giving that up to go over here to hopefully make $250,000, but in the process, you may have to do some things that maybe are not what you're used to doing over here when you're making $100,000 a year. But you got to do whatever you got to do to survive so that you don't become desperate. So don't worry about what other people think. Listen, do some part-time jobs, whatever you got to do to keep money coming in. Listen, I understand. I've been there. I've done it. You got to be willing to do whatever you got to do when you're getting through the desert while you're getting great at your new business, while you're getting great at selling, whether it's insurance, real estate, whatever it is, financial services. Again, any kind of business you're starting, be willing to hustle. Be willing to go do whatever you got to do to work, to pay the bills. And I would also tell you this as a side comment, be willing to cut back, right? Because the lower you can get your needs that you need to be met, the quicker you can have this over here providing for you. So, hey, listen, I hope this is helpful. Share it with somebody you know that may be considering making this transition. This is the ideal situation. Find someone that can guide you. Go in with a bunch of cash reserves, but no matter what, be willing to hustle. Be willing to focus. Know that you're crossing the desert. It is what it is. There's going to be some dead bodies. Not everybody makes it. But if you go in with this mindset, and if you don't have cash reserves, go plan A where you're working part-time over here and full-time on your job, or go plan B where you're going full-time over here and you got some kind of little jobs you're doing to keep some cash flow coming in. But either of those options can work. I know people personally that have been super successful either plan or that have gone in this way. Any of them work as long as you bring the hustle, the attitude, and you're coachable and you're willing to do it. Hey, listen, it is worth it. I'll end with that. It is absolutely worth it. There's no question. If you're willing to go out on faith with a plan and you're willing to go out and go after your dreams, you can do it. The lifestyle, everything about it, it's absolutely worth it, but it's going to be hard. That's what makes it so great, is it's going to be hard getting through the desert, but the rewards are worth it. And again, if you go at it with a plan, right? It doesn't have to be that hard. You can survive. You can make it. So I would love to hear your comments. If you have successfully navigated your way through the desert, as so many people have, and you're over here and you're making more money than you've ever made before with the lifestyle you love, hey, share some tips and advice in the comments below. If you're in the process of going through the desert, share that as well. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you think. And be sure to comment. Hey, be sure to like the video, share it with somebody you know. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Underdog Coach channel, be sure to do that. Click the little subscribe button right here, or click the notification button so you'll be notified of new videos. I'm sharing consistent content that's all about helping you as a salesperson, an entrepreneur, a stay-at-home mom, wherever you are. I want to help you to be successful both in business and in life. That's the purpose of this show. If you're hungry, then I hope you stay tuned and continue to watch. So share the video, comment below. Until next time, stay hungry, make it a great day.